If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to Hollywood Insider's podcasts. Do subscribe and feel free to visit hollywoodinsider.com for more. Hollywood Insider is a media network focused on substance and meaningful entertainment while being against gossip and scandal, so as to utilize media as a tool to unite and better our world by combining entertainment, education, and philanthropy.
A tribute to Ricky Gervais. Legendary writer, actor, director, and comedian Ricky Gervais trailblazed a new form of comedy and reinvented the sitcom. He has influenced the entertainment industry extraordinarily and deserves a proper tribute for his talent and hard work. Ricky Gervais is an incredibly talented artist who's had a far-reaching global influence on comedy and television. Mr. Gervais is not only a household name, but so many of the shows he created are as well. From The Office and Extras to Afterlife, Gervais has been a multi-decade iconic success who has only improved with age.
That's nice, yeah. All the hair, lovely. That looks nice, lovely blue eyes. Okay.
His art pushes boundaries in several ways, possibly stemming from his having grown up through the culturally revolutionary 60s and 70s. Born in Reading, Berkshire, England in 1961, Gervais' parents were not in the entertainment business, but rather his father was a hod carrier and laborer, putting him in social and intellectual positions to see the world from an everyday person's point of view. Gervais went on to study philosophy at the University of London, where he also met Jane Fallon, whom he's been in a relationship with ever since. He later became the frontman of the British new wave musical duo Sanoa Dancing. The duo did have a little bit of critical and commercial success with their hit singles More to Lose and Bitter Heart. Gervais continued to work into the music industry into the 1990s, even managing the band Suede at one point, but didn't quite reach his full potential as an artist, which would eventually gravitate more towards writing, acting, and comedy. In the mid-1990s, Gervais hosted a program for the London radio station XFM, where he also met future creative partner Stephen Merchant. This was a pivotal developmental transformation for Gervais, as he began getting offered opportunities to contribute to comedy programs, The 11 O'Clock Show, Comedy Lab, The Jim Tavar Show, and BBC's Bruiser. At the break of the 21st century, Gervais earned his own comedy show on a public broadcast station in London on Channel 4 titled Meet Ricky Gervais. His show featured a number of well-known guests, including Stephanie Powers and Jim Bowen.
Well, he also said, "Do it quick, mate, sometimes there's plainclothes coppers around here."
Just a year later, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant pioneered a new form of comedy and ultimately reinvented the sitcom. Stephen Merchant and Ricky Gervais, in collaboration with BBC, created The Office in 2001, which wasn't met with extraordinarily wide acclaim, but would go on to reach legendary status not longer after.
Get out. I mean it.
The sitcom wrote the blueprint for the American remake that would debut in 2005, starring Steve Carell in the Ricky Gervais role.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay
everyone?
calm.
What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Well,
The Office is still captivating audiences and is one of the most popular shows of all time. Gervais' sharp wit, hilarious juxtaposition, social boundary pushing, and dark humor is inherent in all of his comedic work, and introduced a fresh and timely unique artistic voice in the world of comedy when it needed a breath of fresh air. Stylistically, the show was a pioneer because it featured a mockumentary style, which, though it's become very common since then, was relatively innovative for sitcom television at the time. Through the stylistic creative choice, Gervais was able to capture the lives and moments of these regular people working at a paper company and build situations and characters in an everyday person's type of way. The show would go on to win several British Academy and Film and Television Awards and British Comedy Awards, along with 2 Golden Globe Awards. Gervais' success didn't stop there either. Just a few years later, Gervais, along with his creative partner Stephen Merchant, would go on to create another historical and mesmerizing sitcom that would attract countless stars, commercial and critical success, and ultimately catapult Gervais into being an international star with Extras in 2005.
Where do you get your normal clothes from? I mean, what are they? Are they children's clothes or are they toy clothes? How does it work? You know, I mean, like your shoes, for instance, would they be like a little Toy Bear's booties?
Ricky Gervais, establishing himself as an icon. Extras took a look at the entertainment industry from an extra's point of view, and featured celebrity guest stars who played exaggerated versions of themselves. The only other successful comedy doing something similar at that time was Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm, but Extras had a completely different and distinct style from David's masterpiece sitcom. This is where Gervais' clever satire and dark humor really began to take form, because his unique perspective and reflection of the entertainment industry bursting through all the glitz and glamour of its representation in the media had been morphed into this easy-to-laugh-at world that's full of human error. Though the show did not receive as much critical or commercial acclaim as The Office, it's still praised as being an extraordinary show. It is on numerous different top lists of the best TV sitcoms of all time. Gervais would go on to win an Emmy Award for his work on the show for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. Throughout this time, Gervais' TV career was booming, but as an artist, Gervais still saw much room to grow, so after The Office, he delved deep into stand-up comedy, and after Extras, excelled in the, at the time, very new podcasting industry. His stand-up specials Animals and Politics after The Office were well received by fans, and his stand-up specials Fame and Science after Extras began to demonstrate his experimentation as a comedian and performer while advancing as an artist.
Then I realised I didn't even have to tweet about religion or atheism. I could just tweet a fact, and that annoyed just the right people.
It would be almost 10 years after Science that Gervais would finally release another stand-up special, but he did it with fitting flying colors. Netflix released his special Ricky Gervais' Humanity, which was met with sensational critical and commercial acclaim and offered new perspectives on some of society's most pressing topics and issues. His next special, titled Supernature, was already bought by Netflix but was halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Gervais was always offering a new voice with a uniquely benevolent core, and is undoubtedly going to stoke flames, put them out, and hilariously use his phenomenal writing and oration skills to give the world a sense of relief with his next special. Millions are anticipating Supernature, and tickets are available online for shows later this year. A key fact that cannot go overlooked is that Ricky Gervais was very early in seeing the potential in podcasting. He hosted his own internet show, The Ricky Gervais Show, where he would simply converse with Stephen Merchant and Carl Pilkington, but possess the same charm and wit all three of them have, but stripped of many of the formalities and barriers on broadcast television. The podcast at the time was one of the most downloaded podcasts ever. Gervais and Merchant developed another sitcom with Warwick Davis titled Life's Too Short in 2011. It was met with mostly positive-leaning but mixed reviews. Gervais excited fans and quickly earned the complete trust of critics back with his next sitcom, Derek, which even earned him a Primetime Emmy Award. The decades of hard work would crystallize in a way that's distinctly Ricky Gervais in his most recent work, After Life, a dark comedy where Gervais plays a newly widowed, suicidal local reporter.
And then when it all gets too much, I can always kill myself. It's like a superpower. That's the worst superhero I've ever heard of.
A bigger influence on Western cinema than he gets credit for. Gervais continues to be a staunch proponent of free speech and overcoming social barriers by tackling controversial topics head-on. This has proved to be a socially relevant use of his artistry by the dismantling of taboo subjects throughout his work, and an ultimately benevolent message that he sends by doing so. Most dark comedies in sitcom television reflect the style that Gervais had set forth before anyone else was doing it, as those creative traits can be seen in shows like Wilfred, Flack, and of course the groundbreaking Americanized version of The Office, which provided the model legendary sitcom Parks and Recreation would work off of. No one else in the entertainment industry stands up to Gervais' ability to cut through any topic or subject with sincere honesty, intellect, and quick wit through a humorously objective lens that's garnered him millions of multi-decade fans. Anyone successfully deploying dark comedy in their work today has traces of Gervais in there, as he has shaped the modern blueprint of the dark comedy sitcom. He's an incredible artist who continues to advance media and comedy to the next level with everything he does.
We hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast. The written version of this article can also be found on HollywoodInsider.com. Subscribe to our podcast and also subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/HollywoodInsiderTV. Follow us on our social media. We will be back next time with more thought-provoking features.